Hi everyone and welcome to another book review video. I'm Sophie and this is Book Reviews by Sophie. The book I'll be reviewing today is A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This book is in the horror genre and was published in 2015. Set here in Massachusetts, A Head Full of Ghosts follows the Barretts, a family that isn't so different from mine or yours. 14-year-old Marjorie is unfortunately showing signs of schizophrenia. Desperate for answers and help, the Barretts turn to a priest, who suggests an exorcism for Marjorie. The priest also brings in a reality show team, who the Barretts reluctantly agree to due to expensive medical bills. Surprisingly to everyone, the reality show is very popular. However, the documentation of Marjorie's strange behavior ends in tragedy. Due to this disaster, the Barrett story becomes stuff of fascination for blogs and myth alike. 15 years later, Marjorie's younger sister Mary, who was only 8 at the time of these events, agrees to be interviewed about the mysterious happenings that took place. Was what was shown on the reality show true? What about all the bizarre events the blogs talked about? During the interview, the reader learns about what really happened. The secrets and hard to come to terms with truths come out. Was Marjorie possessed or going through a mental health crisis? What about what really happened to the Barretts? Read A Head Full of Ghosts to find out. Now it's time to talk about my thoughts about this book. I absolutely loved A Head Full of Ghosts and gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. First things first, this book was creepy. There were several spine-tingling scenes that genuinely gave me goosebumps. I was left thinking about several parts of this book a long time after being done reading it. Tremblay does a fantastic job creating the dynamics of the Barrett family. They felt like a real family despite the bizarre circumstances they found themselves in. The relationship between Marjorie and Mary was especially fascinating to read about. Alternating between the past and present, with blog posts detailing the reality show and the urban legends surrounding it, A Head Full of Ghosts is different from others in the genre. The mixed media and alternating timeline add something unique to the story. Another thing I wanted to point out are the fantastic plot twists in this story. My jaw was on the floor. I never saw them coming, and they really added to the book. I also want to touch on the characters in this book. They are expertly crafted. Mary, for example, feels realistic. She acts and talks like any 8-year-old in her situation would. On this note, it's very interesting to learn about the events that transpired from the perspective of an 8-year-old girl. The creepy child in horror is a very common trope, but by having the story told from the perspective of a child, it turns this trope on its head. Additionally, the characters are complex. We get an understanding of their motivations, their wants, their desires, etc. I can't say enough wonderful things about this book. It's just a wild ride of atmospheric horror. Now let's move on to talking about an important theme in this book. One significant theme is the discussion of horror in the real world. Basically, what we as a society consider horrific. Consider the fact that Marjorie's exorcism was on a reality show. Possessed or not, Marjorie and the Barretts were clearly going through a hard time, so it's interesting that the public was so keen in watching a show all about their pain and suffering. This is a commentary on how we sometimes feed into this pain and horror. This is shown in this quote. "What does that say about you or anyone else that my sister's nationally televised psychotic break-in descent into schizophrenia wasn't horrific enough?" Sometimes we as people become desensitized to what's happening in our world. A Head Full of Ghosts examines this. The last thing we will discuss today is who I recommend reads this book. Horror lovers galore. This book will definitely satisfy any seasoned horror reader, especially those who like horror about possession and the paranormal. On that note, I think even if you don't love those tropes, this book is still definitely worth a read as it has so much more to offer. For those who don't often read horror, this could still be a great book for you. Just be aware that there are some gory scenes in this book. Overall, Tremblay is a fantastic author, and this book will be a great one to pick up if you are new to him. Definitely read this book. That's it for this book review. Thank you so much for watching my review on A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. Look out for more book reviews by Sophie coming soon. Bye!